Hello. Hi. I'm back. Again. 60 something, maybe 70 something plus times over. Anyways, so we're gonna do the Void Warlock aspects. Um, Supers in their unique class thingy, which is Blink. It doesn't have like a thing for it. Yeah, I didn't see a thing for it. But basically, instead of like using your typical warlock jump, you teleport from one part to the other. You do leave a trail, so in PvP people can kind of tell where you're going. Uh, the speed at which you press your jump button again while you're in the air will change your direction. There is a cooldown of around 3-ish seconds after you do it 2 times quickly in succession. Um, yeah. So let's move on to more fancier stuff, at least slightly fancier, with Pocket Singularity. Why is this thing so small? Why they do me like this? Why be they do me like this, man? World may never know. Alright, so Pocket Singularity. What it does is you issue your melee, first of all. You throw it. It causes volatile on the enemy. It boops them in the opposite direction of it hitting the target. You see here I throw up, the body goes straight down. If I wanted to move them like away from me, I would throw it right at them. If I wanted to move them to my left, I would throw it to my right, so on and so forth. So it's a nice little boop as well. Um, which is good for a little bit of CC. That's about it though. It's not super good. It is getting a 50% damage bump um, in the final shake in a couple days, so that's a positive. Right? It's also going to be in the prismatic subclass, so I feel like they kind of had to be honest. Alright, so now we're going to move on to some aspects. We're going to go with the basic but special one. This is going to be Feed the Void. Excuse me? Okay, that was not weird or anything. Feed the Void. Alright? Any void ability kills. Any void ability kills. I'm going to repeat that one more time for my people in the back. Any void ability kills will do all of the following. Restore all of your health. 200 of your health, which is everything, right? It will grant you Devour, which does those things. But your Devour is like an enhanced version of Devour versus base. Basically, everything is roughly doubled from what Devour typically is. Which was a recent change. Tier 1 combatants will give you 15% of your grenade energy. Tier 2 will give you 23. Tier 3 will get you 28. And Tier 4 combatants will get you 40%. You get 40% per guardian kill. This is just, is good. You throw a grenade, you get a kill, bam. Now you got Devour. No subclass stuff needed, which is really good. Yeah, I should actually let the thing play, shouldn't I? So, yeah, nice. So now we're going to move on to the slightly more complicated one. This one doesn't really have much going on here. You can see it in my grenades video, where the different things were changed by this aspect, chaos accelerant. I will specify what it does here. First of all, you have to hold your grenade ability button to overcharge your grenade. Um, and then this only affects 4 different grenades: Axiom Bolt, Magnetic Grenade, Scatter Grenade, and Vortex Grenade. Axiom Bolt gains an additional seeker that will travel faster and further. Magnetic grenades will turn your one magnetic grenade into multiple, and you kind of shotgun them in a 12-ish meter radius in front of you. This is just me spitballing. So, um, and it does apply volatile. I think it boops as well. Pretty good damage. I think it's getting a damage buff as well in the final shape. Although they're going to be nerfing its cooldown for that, I think that this means that we should probably be using it more because they think it's good, but they're trying to get us to use it. Scatter grenade. The way scatter grenade works is you throw it, it explodes into a bunch of different little grenade seekers, and then those seekers track the opponents. Well, if you overcharge it, then it will track from a further distance. And vortex grenade, it has more duration, it is bigger, and it deals damage faster, and it pulls enemies in faster. It's just the overall buff to the grenade, and this is the best grenade to be using with Void in general, unless you really like the idea of suppression. So that's what Chaos Accelerant does. Nice, nice. And then the more complicated one here with dang it, it's gonna do that thing again. More complicated one here with Child of the Old Gods. Whenever you cast your rift, you will bring out a child of the old gods. We just call it Void Buddy. And then that Void Buddy will track to an enemy that you deal damage to, not one that you kill, but one that you deal damage to. Then it will travel to that area, or roughly to that area, and seek out the nearest opponent. It will stop moving and send out a field of, well, a draining field as they call it here, right? It applies weaken to the opponent and it deals damage every 0.7 seconds. Okay. Within a 10-meter radius. If you're using a empowering rift, it will heal you per damage tick. So it'll drain the health from the enemies, right? And then if you're using a healing rift, then it will give you 4% of your grenade and melee energy per damage tick instead. Also, if you're killing any enemies that are inside of the field while Child of Old Gods is up, you will give yourself rift energy so you can do it again. It's really neat. I like this ability as it fills a lot of holes that I think that Void would have before. Like you could forego for Devour entirely. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could if you just kept building. If you built into having infinite rifts, basically. So yeah, that's cool. So now I'm gonna move on to the supers. We'll start with Cataclysm. Okay. This is a Nova Bomb variant. There are two of them here. You throw this giant ball. When that ball explodes, it will go into tiny seekers. Those seekers will also track toward enemies that are nearby and deal damage to them, which is dope. It's also getting a damage buff, but it's getting a damage buff through gaining additional seekers and adjusting their tracking to be more aggressive toward the enemy and to not get caught structures as much. As you can see, it does a pretty good amount of damage. That's one shot in the what's the word I'm looking for here? The Lost Sector boss. At like 330,000 or so. Based off the numbers I just looked at there. It's probably higher than that, but whatever. Alright. So now we're gonna move on to Vortex variation of the Nova Bomb Grenade. Same concept. It's less floaty and tracky whenever you first throw it. Whenever it hits the ground, it works just like a Vortex Grenade, and then it sucks enemies in. It does an initial damage, and then as it sits there, it does damage over time. So pretty self-explanatory. This portion of Nova Bomb is also getting a damage increase, but I believe it's getting a damage increase through duration. Useful. And now, moving on to Nova Warp. Basically, you are the Nova Bomb now. You move around, where you kind of float around. You have to charge up the attack. The more you charge it up, the more damage you will do. If you fully charge it, you will make the enemies volatile, which just helps with more ad clear. Yeah, that's about it. You can like blink inside of this, but it takes up your super energy, so if you can avoid it, I just wouldn't. Yeah, that's it. Nice though. And that's all for Void Warlock. Hopefully, again, these are useful to you in some way, shape, or form. I will be getting out the rest of the videos as soon as possible, and all before the final shape, if at all possible. Yeah. Later.